The air in the chamber, 150 feet beneath the surface of Oak Island, was thick with the dust of ages. The air was thick with the dust of ages and the electric hum of anticipation. Today, August 22nd, 2025, was the day. After years of relentless digging, of chasing phantom signals, and deciphering stone-carved clues, the team stood before the final barrier. It wasn't a crude wooden hatch or a pile of loose rock. No, this was a masterpiece of ancient engineering. A massive, perfectly circular stone door, 10 feet in diameter, was set flush into the bedrock. Its surface was impossibly smooth, save for a single intricate symbol carved into its center, a Templar cross intertwined with a serpent eating its own tail. This was it, the money pit, the garden shaft, H8. They were all just pathways leading to this one final, unyielding doorway. Every drop of sweat, every dollar spent, every dashed hope had led them right here. Rick Legina's face, illuminated by the powerful LED work lights, was a mask of pure, unadulterated awe. Beside him, his brother Marty stood with a hand on his shoulder, a silent gesture of support that spoke volumes. The silence was deafening, broken only by the gentle whir of the air circulation fans and the rhythmic thumping of their own hearts. The final sequence was initiated. It was time, and the world, watching via a live feed, held its collective breath alongside them. As the team members stepped onto the designated points in a precise sequence, a low, deep groan echoed from within the stone door. Dust, fine as powdered sugar, trickled from the edges of the circular seal. The groan intensified, becoming a deafening grinding of stone against stone. A sound so visceral it vibrated through the soles of their boots and up into their chests. Slowly, impossibly, the 10-foot stone disc began to retract. A dark, black void began to appear around its circumference. The air that rushed out from the newly formed opening was cool and strangely pure. Everyone instinctively took a step back, their modern lights cutting into a darkness that had been absolute for centuries. The doorway was now fully open, a perfect circle of blackness beckoning them forward. It's real. Tears were streaming down Rick's face, not of sadness but of overwhelming, earth-shattering validation. News channels broke away from regular programming. Social media feeds exploded. They were peering through a gateway into the past. The cinematic opening was complete, and the true journey was about to begin. The world was about to see what the Knights Templar had gone to such extraordinary lengths to protect. Stepping across the threshold was like stepping into another dimension. The air immediately changed. The scent of aged vellum, cedarwood, and cold ancient stone. The chamber that opened up before them was not a crude cavern, but a masterfully constructed antechamber. It was vast, at least 50 feet square, with a high vaulted ceiling that disappeared into the shadows above their lights. To their left, sealed amphorae stamped with the Templar cross. To their right, utilitarian chests bound with iron. Their lights caught the glint of a single ornate silver chalice and a thin, beaten gold scroll tied with leather, a welcome mat to the vault. The scale of the operation was staggering. Rick, however, was drawn to the far wall. 3 arched doorways led deeper, scholars, knights, crowns, coins, and jewels. It was a table of contents carved in stone. The team chose the first archway, the one depicting scholars and scribes. They had entered a library unlike any other on Earth. Towering carved shelves, preserved in dry, stable air. Craig Tester carefully pulled a heavy red leather tome embossed with a diagram of the solar system. A heliocentric model, a concept once labeled heresy, was preserved here. Margins filled with geometry, acoustic diagrams, instruction manuals for a lost chapter of human ingenuity. Simple leather-bound diaries of Templar leaders, recounting their flight across the sea after 1307. Voyages across the Atlantic, using maps that predate Columbus. The scrolls explained their purpose. Their mandate: preserve philosophy, science, art, and spirituality. A seed bank for civilization. The vault was to be reopened when humanity was ready to listen. Leaving the library, the team moved to the second archway, carved with images of knights and battle. The armory lay ahead, a cold chamber filled with the steel and stories of men sworn to protect. This was the armory, a breathtaking sight. Racks of swords lined the walls, Templar broadswords, scimitars from the east, crossbows, early firearms. Complete suits of armor stood as ghostly sentinels, one inlaid with gold and bearing the motto, Non Nobis Domine. In a glass-like case on faded velvet rested a long, elegant sword. hilt wrapped in gold wire, a sapphire in its pommel. A plaque read, in plain Latin, Excaliburnus. Was this the sword of legend? To the Templars, myth and history braided into one. With mounting disbelief, the team entered the third arch, the one adorned with carvings of riches. A fairy tale scene greeted them, a treasury that glittered with a light of its own. Byzantine solidi, Arab dinars, French livres, English nobles, coins from every corner of the medieval world. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, ropes of pearls and intricate gold necklaces, royal crowns and jewel-encrusted scepters. The fortune that vanished from the Paris temple in 1307. This was a treasure to be studied, catalogued and conserved, not squandered. Beyond the wealth, there was one last small, unadorned stone doorway. Rick pushed it open. A sense of reverence settled over the team. The room was small, circular, completely empty save for two objects on a simple stone dais. On the left, a wooden chest overlaid in gold, its lid crowned with winged cherubim. No mistaking it. It was the Ark of the Covenant. On the right, a simple wooden cup, unadorned, resting on a velvet cushion. Experts on the audio feed identified it with trembling voices. A cup matching the Holy Grail, the Ark and the Grail together, an historical and theological bombshell. Returning to the antechamber, the team looked at the golden scroll with new understanding. The text, inscribed in flawless Latin, was the final will of a last Templar Grand Master, dated 1314. It explained everything, confirming theories held for decades. They used a vast network of ships to ferry treasures to a New Jerusalem, an island sanctuary where knowledge and faith would be preserved. The money pit, the engineered flood tunnels and complex locks were not traps to kill, but locks to deter the unworthy. The scroll called it Arca Praesidi, a vessel of safeguarding. The library was to preserve wisdom, the armory, legends, the treasury, the means to rebuild. The sacred relics preserved the divine spark. They named this island New Jerusalem and built a lifeboat for civilization to be opened when humanity was ready. The curse was not a malevolent hex, but a warning. Traps designed to deter the unworthy and protect the treasure until the right age. The Templars were librarians, curators, guardians, sacrificing lives so wisdom would not be extinguished. The team realized they had not conquered the island. They had fulfilled a prophecy and been entrusted with its contents. Conservators began the slow, reverent task of cataloging and preserving what had been hidden for centuries. It was not just an end. It was the opening of a new chapter for humanity. Scholars, scientists, clergy, all scrambled to comprehend the magnitude. As the team emerged from the depths of Oak Island into the light of a new day, the world was already changed. News anchors spoke in hushed, reverent tones. Religious leaders called for unity. Historians and scientists scrambled to comprehend the magnitude. For Rick Lagina, this was the culmination of a lifelong dream, a quest that began with a childhood Reader's Digest article. He and Marty shared a quiet embrace. The weight of the obsession finally lifted. The Island of the Vault, a World Heritage Site. Ordinary men who achieved the extraordinary would be remembered. The Vault's contents, knowledge, history and sacred relics, were now a gift to the world and a chance to rebuild. The Fellowship of the Dig, tired but triumphant, had given humanity back a piece of its soul. The mystery was solved. The curse lifted. The story of Oak Island is complete. Please subscribe to our channel History Documentary Hub for more insightful videos and intriguing content.